So I'm not sure about the inspiration, but I wanted to set the stage in a way and sketch the main topics that we're going to dive in today. And a good start is a tweet I saw almost a year ago, and I keep thinking about. A tweet of this guy, Eliezer Yudkowsky, a well-known AI expert for many years. And he was asking the machine, can you draw me a very normal image? And first of all, it's a brilliant question for an AI engine. And he received this picture, like a suburban quiet place. As you can see, no people there, only buildings and cars. And then he said, this is normal, but give me something even more normal. And he received this living room. And he said, this is nice, this is normal, but give me something even more normal than that. And he received this working station. And he was keep bugging the machine and asking again, give me something even more normal than that. And he received again some empty roads and quiet roads of some probably imagined place in the US. And he was keeping asking, and he received this answer and that answer. And I think what all those answers, by the way, he kept doing this for hundreds of pictures, so we have some really crazy ones. But I'll stop in this one because I think this reflects all the others. All the images that the machine was generating about what it means to be normal was about expected scenarios. Safe, expected, we have this switch and we can push it. We know how things work. We don't have any distraction inside. And this notion really resonates with a lot of the research we have about the way our brain is working, and especially some of the new theories about how to model the way our brain works describe human beings as predictive machines. Like we all the time predict. We predict our moves. We even predict how the world looks like. And if our prediction is good, we have no surprise. Prediction is about minimizing uncertainty. If we're good in prediction, nothing will surprise us. Everything will happen exactly according to what we want it to be. And this also very embedded in the culture, in the Western culture in general. Like last week we read in the Noach, Parashat Noach, and there is the covenant between God and the people and human beings. And the covenant says, summer going to be in the summer, winter going to be in the winter. You can expect from the world to behave according to a certain order. And this notion entered to a new era about 30 years ago, when technology really started to take over. And I think one of the best descriptions of this is this album of Radiohead, OK Computer, which is an amazing album, 1997. And one of the songs, I don't know if it can be called a song because there's no music there. It's just, Tom York just read this poet called Fitter, Happier. And it's a very strong song. I won't read all of it, but it describes a human being in this era when we apparently control everything. We can predict everything. Everything is optimized. And the key words are productive, comfortable, regular, no paranoia, careful, better pace, more calculated. Still cries at a good film. We cry, but we do it only in a film. It's also a planned activity. And we're calm. And the end of this poem says calm, fitter, healthier, and more productive. A pig in a cage of antibiotics. And I think the criticism that he had, all of us can resonate today. We're living in a very optimized world, and it keeps to appear as a very optimized world. But from the other hand, we also live in a world of black swans. And this is something that became to be stronger in the last 5 years. We see more and more black swans. This notion of black swan was coined originally by David Hume in the 17th century. And David Hume, living in England or Scotland, they knew only about white swans. And then they discovered Australia, and they discovered there are also black swans, and it became to be a metaphor for things that we cannot predict. And the economist Nassim Taleb, Lebanese American, took this notion and took it to another level and built a theory about it, about economics in this stage of black swans. And one of the insights that Nassim Taleb has is that black swans are not just the events that we cannot predict, they're also the events that affect us the most. We've been affected dramatically by those black swans, and in the last 5 years we are living mostly in a world of black swans. We have very little white swans. And this is not an accident. All those black swans that we are facing, COVID, generative AI, all the global anger, it could be a war, it could be a protest, all over the world we see this anger, global warming, all those things are done by human. All of these things are done by technology. Of course, the most forward one is straightforward one is the generative AI, but also COVID, even if you don't take this theory of being made in a lab, if we didn't have a global world, it wouldn't spread so quickly. And we have a global world because we have a technology that enables us to have a global world. And the same goes to all the other aspects. Human being created technology. Technology created more scenarios that we cannot expect. And now we are living in a world of black swans. And it's not just a subjective kind of feeling that all of us feel. It's backed with data, and one of the most interesting resources for this data is the World Uncertainty Index. It's an index that was generated by a few scientists in Stanford in mid-90s. And they're monitoring phrases that are connected to uncertainty. They're mainly monitoring official papers of countries. We're going to hear soon the chairman of the Israeli Authority, Innovation Authority. So documents of organizations like that, documents of ministers of economy, and they're tracking all the phrases that are about uncertainty. And as you can see, the numbers are going very high. They also show a very accurate correlation between these uncertainty phrases and the economic outcomes, a negative correlation. Whenever we have higher rank of uncertainty, we have also lower performance in economy. And today we're going to discuss mainly about the educational aspect of this change. And when we are looking about education in ages of uncertainty, we can see roughly two families of solutions, or two families of approaches to uncertainty in education. One is to stick to the original roadmap, and the other one is to adopt something that can be called uncertainty mindset. And sticking to the original roadmap makes a lot of sense. When you are educating, when you have kids, and everyone who is a parent or an educator knows that, the first thing you want to do when there is uncertainty is to generate confidence and generate a feel of safety and minimize anxiety. So what you try to do is sticking the habits, sticking the structure that we all know, and assuming that this will keep them in track, although they are exposed to this uncertainty. And as we all know, we tried this during COVID. We copy-paste the actual world into a Zoom screen, and it was not a big success. Although the motivation was very clear, the outcomes was pretty problematic. And looking on the other strategy of adapting uncertainty mindset, we can see, first of all, a lot of research about it, but also lots of popular books that were all published in the last 5 years, and all about taking uncertainty as sort of an advantage. Just to give a little bit color on this, for instance, this guy, Mark Miller from University of Toronto, speaks about informational chaos as a way to generate a better creativity and also preserving a better healthy lives. This lady, Maggie Jackson, published a book last year and coined the term wakefulness, like some kind of a mindset that we should have that is alert and open to things that are happening and we cannot expect. And deriving from those kind of theories, we also have now a few educational suggestions that are mainly looking into uncertainty as sort of a skill, something that you can practice the kids to to be more trained to use uncertainty. And I must say that I feel a little bit uncomfortable with reading those suggestions, mainly because they are not really coming from a radical uncertainty life. Like one of the examples of exercise is you enter a restaurant and order something from the menu that you're not used to eat, which is a very nice exercise, but when you're in a reality that the restaurant does not exist or you have nothing to eat, is less effective. And I guess that it's very hard to really cover this kind of strategies when you're thinking about learning lessons. And the discourse around it sounds a little bit like the discourse about embracing the failure. You know, I guess each one of you is exposed to this. And usually the people who are telling us to embrace the failure have successful people. Like the losers are not saying, let's embrace the failure. And the same goes to us. Like people who are living in radical uncertainty, it doesn't sound like something which we should hug or be expecting to have more of it. We had enough. And the other way to look into education and uncertainty is looking into changing the organizations. And I think it's about organizations in general, but especially about schools, and really rethinking about schools that will be flexible enough and can be adaptive to change realities. And when we are thinking about changing organization, we don't have to invent new strategies of managing differently organizations. We have an excellent model, which is startups. And startups, the definition that Eric Ries, one of the thinkers of this movement of lean startup was coined, is that a startup is a human institution designed to deliver a new product or service under conditions of extreme uncertainty. This is a totally different concept of what we mean when we say organization. And the DNA of startups build on this cycle of building some MVP, some initial product, testing it, measuring it, learning from it, going back and build it again. And imagine a school that could work in this way and iterate all the time around the assumptions that the school has about anything that should be taught. And I believe the message that we should go with, going back to this idea of the failure, but from a different angle, that startups can teach schools to be much more like the Samuel Beckett quote of fail again, fail better, than the NASA slogan of failure is not an option, which is very typical for established organizations like school or other established organizations that we are all working with. And today we're going to play between those worlds. We're going to play between hearing some of people from the field that are doing actual education under extreme uncertainty, and startup that can teach us both about new strategies about learning and about the actual way of supplying the education, but also about how to construct an organization under extreme uncertainty. So I really wish us all a fruitful and enjoyable day, and thank you very much.